details. And also, at the end of the month, on April 26th, we have the Collins Memorial Service, concert, and the Fauré Requiem and the Haydn Piano Concerto will be played, and most importantly, Gigi, who we just heard, will be conducting. Finally, I'm excited to let you know that we have selected an intern for next year, Ebony Smith Cooper, and her details are in the order of service. That's a lot, but you've got the notes to take care of it. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Lindsay Donnelly Bullington. I use she and her pronouns. I have the joy of serving this congregation as the intern minister. Through varied lives, varied dreams, varied fears, varied joys and sorrows, we join together for a moment of collective worship, to experience wonder together, to experience strength in connection, to find solidarity across difference. Tomorrow brings the celebratory end of Ramadan and the recognition of Transgender Day of Visibility. These celebrations in times of very visible threats and acts of hatred against Muslim and trans communities. In such times, it is not a luxury to gather, to recharge and recenter in community. It's a necessity. May this be a time of preservation. I am so glad that you are here today so that we can worship together. I invite Pam Steele up for our Canvas testimonial.
Good morning. My name is Pam Steele, and I am a member of First Church and the Communications Coordinator. I became a Unitarian Universalist when I was raising my two boys on my own, and I felt I wanted a community to help me. Plus, it gave me some free time on Sunday mornings. I liked that it was an inclusive religion, that they believed in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and that a walk in nature could also be a form of worship. I remember hearing over the news one morning that Massachusetts had legalized same-sex marriage, and it made me so proud that a Unitarian minister had performed the first ceremony. This is the type of religion I want to support. My boys grew up, and I no longer needed a house in a good school district. So I moved to a small apartment in Boston, and I started attending services here. First Church Boston was quite a change from my small UU association, but I liked that they had the courage to build a more revolutionary building rather than a traditional church. I wish I had more disposable income to support organizations like First Church Boston, but I pledge each year, and this year I upped my pledge. In addition, I contribute my professional skills and work on communications for the church. Things like graphic banners outside, promotional materials for events, and when I stepped aside from my full-time job, I redesigned our website. You may see me taking pictures quite often because I contribute posts to our Facebook page, and I like working in the church garden, to make it look cared for. So there are always additional ways to contribute with your skills or your interests. We all know that it costs to keep any place running, and everything is getting more expensive. So I hope that you will contribute your financial support as well as your time and talent to First Church Boston.
Please rise as you are able in body or in spirit, and join with me in the words of our affirmation printed in your order of service as we light our chalice, the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. I invite you to wave to the camera to say hi to the folks joining in online, and then take a moment to greet one another. Please remain risen in body or in spirit, and join with me in singing hymn number 340 in your gray hymnal, Though Gathered Here to Celebrate. Please be seated. Our time for all ages this morning is the story From the Stars in the Sky to the Fish in the Sea by Kai Chang Tom. Once upon a time, in a little blue house on a hill on the edge of town, a baby was born. They were born when both the moon and the sun were in the sky, so the baby couldn't decide what to be. Boy or girl, bird or fish, cat or rabbit, tree or star. So the baby looked a little bit like everything. They looked very strange. All the same, the baby's mother gave her child a bath and rocked them in her arms. "Your name," she said, "is Mulan." And she sang a song that her own mother had sung to her long ago. "Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be, from the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea. You can crawl like a crab or with feathers fly high, and I'll always be here. I'll be near, standing by. And you know that I'll love you till the day that I die." And even though they still couldn't decide, the baby felt loved. Mulan grew up to be a strange, magical child who was always changing. They grew feathers and wings to fly with bluebirds in the mornings, scales and a tail to swim with fish in the afternoons, and fur and paws to play with puppies in the evenings. No matter how many things Mulan became, their mother always brought them back into the little blue house, gave them a bath, and tucked them into bed at the day's end. As the stars rose, she sang, "Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be, from the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea." And Mulan felt loved. One day, it was time for the child to go to school. They were so excited. They grew a tail of peacock feathers and a coat of tiger stripes. "Have fun," said Mulan's mother. But when they got to the school, the other students were either boys or girls. They had no feathers, no scales, no leaves, no fur, no fins, not even any sparkles. No one invited Mulan to play. One little boy ran up to the child and asked, "What are you supposed to be?" Mulan didn't know how to answer. When they came home, their mother asked them how they'd liked school. "It's okay," said Mulan. "Did you make any friends?" "Not really," said Mulan. That night, Mulan's mother tucked them into bed and sang, "You can crawl like a crab or with feathers fly high, and I'll always be here. I'll be near, standing by. And you know that I'll love you till the day that I die." And Mulan felt loved, but also worried. The next day, they wore a turtle shell and porcupine spines. No one pulled or poked Mulan, but the other children still pointed and whispered. "Did you make any friends today?" asked their mother. "Not really," said Mulan. That night, Mulan's mother tucked them into bed and sang, "Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be, from the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea." And Mulan felt loved, but they also felt sad. The next day, Mulan wore no feathers, no scales, no leaves, no fur, no fins, no shells, no spines, not even any sparkles. Mulan was invited to play baseball with the boys. No one pointed, whispered, laughed, or stared. But when Mulan noticed the little girls playing hopscotch, "Boys don't play hopscotch," said a little girl. "Are you a boy or a girl anyway?" asked a little boy. "Didn't you have a shell the other day?" asked a little girl. "And feathers the day before? What are you supposed to be?" said several children at once. "I don't know," Mulan shouted, and galloped out of the playground on horse's hooves, swam through the stream with a fish's tail, and soared up the hill on an eagle's wings. "How was school?" asked Mulan's mother. "I wore feathers and stripes so that the other kids would think I was beautiful, but they thought I was weird. And then I wore a shell and spines so that no one would pull or poke me, but they wouldn't talk to me. And then I tried to be just like everyone else, but I haven't made any friends. I can't decide what to be. Why do I have to be just one thing? It isn't always easy to be different from everyone else, said their mother. But you can only be who you are. What if the other children don't like who I am? Sniffled Mulan. Their mother smiled sadly. I don't know, she admitted. But I do know this. Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be, from the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea. And Mulan felt loved. That night, they slept a deep sleep. The next day, Mulan wore fur, feathers, scales, leaves, and many sparkles that glittered like stars. For a moment, none of the other children spoke. Then a little girl said, "You can fly? That's so cool." "I like your sparkles," said a little boy. "I'm sorry I pulled your feathers," said the boy with red hair. "I was a little jealous of them." Mulan asked, "Does anyone want to play with me?" They showed the other children how to gallop like horses, climb like monkeys, and swim like fish. It was fun to be many different things. And the child of fur, feathers, scales, leaves, and sparkles, who was neither boy nor girl, but many things, and always changing, felt happy. In the little blue house on the hill on the edge of town, Mulan's mother smiled and sang the song her mother had sung to her once upon a time. Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be, from the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea. You can crawl like a crab or with feathers fly high, and I'll always be here. I'll be near, standing by. And you know that I'll love you till the day that I die. Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be, for you are my child, courageous and free. Children are always welcome in our service in the sanctuary or to head out into the narthex for childcare with Noah and Jackie.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to read the words to you for this beautiful anthem because the words are very important, and it's excerpts from Our Dangerous Sweetness, the text to this. My dear, beautiful people, each time you are broken, I break. I break. I break a little more, then I unbreak. I'm piecing myself back together with the care of a potter's hands. I, clay phoenix, I feel the heat of our resurrections burning to glaze our skin into glow. My fire and my kiln are these words, this space, the intimate threads of our connection. I envision us going on to eclipse, building bigger, 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 more luminous, so bright. My beautiful people, our breaking is our making. Let us dream towards what we want beyond survival. Let us dream towards loving ourselves over and over again. My beautiful people, I can taste our honeyed victory. My beautiful people, our dangerous sweetness is our rebellion.
Thank you. In this centering moment, I invite you to ground yourself with the deepest breath you've had a chance to take today. Please pray with me. Spirit of life and love, thank you for the chance to renew in community, to gather and make meaning of the movements of our lives. We are, all of us, in perpetual transitions, just as we know our world is too. Bless our practices and processes of discernment with a sense of purpose for those decisions, big and small. And though gathered here to celebrate, we carry a heaviness in our hearts as well. Our neighbors are being censored and disappeared. May righteous anger be transformed into faithful action. May profound sorrow be accompanied gently. May resignation meet a knowledge of a beautiful future, if only imagined for now. Bless our discernments as we dare to promote values of equity, justice, and love, always love. O liberating love still left in this world, in nourishing rains and early blooms, in smiles between strangers, in art, in poetry, in music, in defiant verve and flourish, grant us peace. Peace in ourselves, peace in our church, peace in our communities, peace in our world. As we move into a time of shared stillness and a musical meditation, I invite you to join your prayers to mine. It's now the time in our service for our ritual of gratitude and generosity. For the care and sustenance of this congregation, our morning's offering will now be graciously given and received. Donations may be made through the past plates in person or online on our website or through the QR code in your order of service.
and all of this is mine. Everything, the sun, the heat on my skin, the light of its rays is mine. The moon that dances in stars, luminous and glowing, and its power that manifests in waves is mine. The air that flows in and out of my lungs, and through every living creature and tree on earth is mine. The sky so open, so edgeless, it overwhelms the eye of every beholder. The sky that stretches so tightly around our world, it seeps into our dreams. This sky is mine, and I do not need a string to find my way, and I will fly as high as I want, and I will scream and bellow in joy and laugh and plant my future in the wind. Mutable, changing, I need not know where I am going to fit into this or that. If all this is mine, you think you know how this story ends. You've seen the pictures of my body dipping into the violent ocean, never to be seen again. But this is not that. It will never be that. I will fall into joy, I will fall into life, and this gift of being alive on earth, in my very own body, is
Our reading this morning is from the novella Infect Your Friends and Loved Ones by Torrey Peters. In this story, we're transported to a world after the release of a virus that stops all natural production of estrogen and testosterone, and all people must deliberately opt in to their hormones. In this new shortage, most bioidentical estrogen, now harvested from pigs, is distributed only to those assumed to be most fertile, and transgender women must source their hormones through back channels. A band of transgender women have gathered in this apocalypse and tattooed each other with the characters T4T, representing transgender for transgender. One character explains the purpose in the reading here. Here's what it is, she says, a little more gently. We aim high, trying to love each other, and then we take what we can get. We settle for looking out for each other, and even if we don't all love each other, we mostly all respect each other. After a pause, she says, I remember how I used to be before the contagion, embarrassed to be seen with another trans woman for fear that her transness would reveal my transness and we'd both get clocked. T for T is an ideal, I guess, and we fall short of it most of the time. But that's better than before. All it took was the end of the world to make that happen. Torrey Peters, from Infect Your Friends and Loved Ones.
All it took was the end of the world to make that happen, writes the author. That end of the world was different than I've ever seen. But maybe you've witnessed some small apocalypses of your own. When I find troubling times, and these, I believe, are troubling times, sometimes I turn to the spiritual technology of tarot cards for reflection, for insight, and to discern next steps from a personal or collective apocalypse into a post-apocalypse. If you're not familiar, tarot cards are split between the minor arcana, more like cards in a standard playing deck, numbered 1 through 10 with 4 court cards per suit, and the major arcana, numbered 0 through 23 with names like the Fool, the Sun, and the Moon. When I was learning about the major arcana, I was taught that they tell a story altogether called The Fool's Journey. The Fool, number 0, sets off on this trek, unsure at first of where they're going, and meets each of these 23 spiritual teachers in a row. Some with promises of weal, and some with warnings of woe, and most with a bit of both. Late in the journey, the Fool hits a moment of traumatic change and disruption where their way forward is completely erased at the tower. Pictured not as a tall, strong fortress, but as one that once was tall and strong and now crumbles in a storm. After this, where there seems to be no way forward, the Fool meets 3 characters I've been thinking a lot about lately: the star, the moon, and the sun. The star, yes, shows those brightly shining in the sky, but also a person on the earth, 1 foot on solid ground, 1 in a pool of water, as they pour water from 2 chalices to nourish the fertile soil. After the tower crumbles, the fool suddenly sees through where it once stood, noticing a North Star, a welcome reminder of an earned hope and refined purpose. All it took was the end of the world to make that happen. All it took was the fall of the mighty tower to make that star visible. In the calm of the star's inspiration, the fool falls asleep and in dreams meets the moon. In order to continue on this journey, the hope of the star provides the fuel for the reckoning that the moon expects, ready to illuminate the shadow side of every intention, just as the moon reflects the light of the sun through the night. The questions the moon asks are tough. Having lost the tower, what was once your goal, what do you really want? What illusions are you still hanging on to? And if you dispel those fantasies, what will be left for you in the world of reality? I wonder if you have someone in your life who asks you tough questions like these. Out of that long night, the fool wakes up and sees clearly, perhaps for the first time, in the light of the sun. Its rays reach to the soil that the star was watering. They're not so different, really, the sun and the star. The greater proximity of the sun grants it a special familiarity, enough that we know it by name, unlike the anonymous star. The sun illuminates not just a path forward, but the vitality of life around the fool. The great ecosystems of connection and collaboration working in rhythms, just like the tandem rise and fall of sun and moon. All it took was the end of the world to see it. Tomorrow is Trans Day of Visibility, and 10 years ago, just over, Time magazine declared the transgender tipping point, where from that point forward, trans people comprised such a critical mass of people that we'd see only, or at least mostly, social progress and recognition. That story from Time magazine centered on the actress Laverne Cox, who, gaining critical acclaim and mainstream recognition, was a shining star of visibility and who represented an unstoppable wave. Visibility, this article seemed to argue, would be the key to acceptance and the solution to discrimination. And to the author's credit, us trans people have gotten nothing if not more visible in the 10 years since its publication. At the same time, that has not meant that we've found much comfort across much of this country. In states across the US, trans people, and especially children, have in the past few years been denied legal protection from discrimination, denied accurate documentation on passports, denied access to health care, and denied the right to play with friends after school. We are not facing invisibility. We're facing a fierce storm and a crumbling tower. Greater visibility is not my wish upon a star right now. In this time of hyper-visibility, of heightened threats to safety, of constant surveillance, I envy Claude Rains in The Invisible Man, able to adorn and remove a three-piece suit hat, sunglasses, and bandages covering his face to render himself visible and invisible at will. This is not only the case with trans people right now. Earlier this week, we know a PhD candidate at Tufts, originally from Turkey on an F1 student visa, was arrested by ICE agents while joining friends to break her Ramadan fast. She'd had personal information leaked online, the target of doxing, and her neighbors in Somerville noticed unmarked cars scoping her out for days prior. She had co-authored an opinion piece in the Tufts newsletter, participating in democratic processes to take stances and push for an end to war in Palestine. Ozturk has joined an unfortunate wave of immigration-related detentions for political opposition. Her visibility, the surveillance of her comings and goings by civilians and government agents alike, has been a weapon used at her expense, a tower crumbling. I don't guarantee that every crumbling tower will reveal a shining star, a renewing sense of hope and purpose. I don't guarantee that there is some cosmic or spiritual purpose to the suffering of some at the will of others. But I do believe in the promise of the star, a celestial guide point, the promise that existed before the fall of the tower too, whether we paid attention to it or not. In Torrey Peters' novella from our reading, the end of the world brought an imperfect shining star, one that the characters had attempted to keep before the contagion, but kept failing at. In the novella, they call it T for T, a pledge to center other trans folks in their lives, their love, their respect. Torrey Peters didn't come up with this term on her own. About the origins of the term, the Trans Studies Quarterly editors Cameron Awkward-Rich and Hill Malatino write, "The term arose in the context of early 2000s Craigslist personals, working to both sequester trans folks from the categories of M and W for male and for man and woman, and to enable some of us to find one another for hookups. But it took on a bigger meaning, an ethos of care and solidarity with other trans folks. At the end of the world, the still shining star was this still unmet promise of T for T, this promise of solidarity. If imperfect, they at least got better after enduring their own apocalypse. So how will we survive the next apocalypse? I'm sure we've each survived some already. These are the questions of the moon. What shall our post-apocalypse look like? What illusions are we still hanging on to? And what can we dream into being? I don't believe the answer is greater visibility of trans people nor of any marginalized people. That illusion is one I think we must release. The visible, charismatic leaders of social movements past were so visible they were able to become martyrs, and I don't believe we need martyrs right now. What can we dream into being? The moon asks. I believe it's bigger than a coincidence that hypervisibility is affecting multiple communities of marginalized people now. Our liberation is tied up together, just as our oppression is too. Our great universalist promise is that our salvation will come in this life, and we will build it, we will glimpse it in small moments. Here comes the sun. Just like any other star, just close enough to know it by name, to recognize it from the crowd, to be nurtured in relationship with it. I believe the beautiful way forward will be illuminated by our close relationships too. I believe this time will ask us to renew commitments to solidarity. As Peters writes, we aim high, trying to love each other, and then we take what we can get. We settle for looking out for each other. Solidarity is a great, simple, easy word for a tough, long, messy process. But illuminated by the sun, we can find that solidarity looks like deep relationship, not just knowing about, but opening one another to be changed together. Illuminated by the sun, we find that solidarity looks like mutual aid and collaboration, knowing that we will all need assistance from each other at some point, so we give it too. Illuminated by the sun, we find that solidarity looks like mourning a fallen tower together and building something beautiful in the ruins. Peters writes that these characters mostly fail at this ideal of T for T. I find that after a mistake, it can be easiest to rebuild a relationship that has already a strong foundation, a deep foundation. Through deep relationship, we'll keep one another pointed to our North Stars. All it took was the end of the world, not celebrity, not awareness, not visibility. Through the foggiest night, let's build lighthouses of values, displays of solidarity and mutuality to keep one another safe when it's hardest to find our guiding star. In the light of the sun, we'll see that all along we were made up of our relationships. Amen, and blessed be. Please rise as you are able in body or in spirit, and join with me in singing hymn number 146, Soon the Day Will Arrive. Please remain standing and join with me in the words to extinguish our chalice printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We need one another, and we deserve one another. Go from this place together with dreams of beautiful futures. These will be possible in solidarity, sustained by each other's hope when our own is hard to find. You are so loved. Go and love the world.